All right. Well, let's take a look at some footage from. Now, you just said Bucha. Is it pronounced Bucha or Bucha? I'm not correcting you. I'm asking.
I'm an American. I call it Bucha. Some people call it Bucha. We'll see.
I've heard others. Is it Kiev or Kiev?
Well, I'm an old school Soviet guy. It's Kiev. If you're Ukrainian, it's Kiev. And if you're CNN announcer, it's Kiev.
However you pronounce it. Let's take a look at some footage, and then also Zelensky reacting to it, and then President Biden reacting to it.
Yeah. Pay attention to that box. I'll bring that back up. That box too, the green box with the star on it.
Say that. What's that?
I just see the hands tied.
Yeah.
And then the green boxes with the stars on them, the white stars.
Mm-hmm. What does that mean?
I'll tell you once the film's done.
I think we're having a slow internet connection because this is going slower than it's supposed to.
Скажу вам, что чем дольше будет Российская Федерация затягивать процесс встречи, тем хуже для них, и в принципе для этой ситуации, для этой войны. Потому что с каждым днем, когда заходят наши войска и деоккупируют те или иные территории, вы видите, что происходит. Очень сложно разговаривать, когда ты видишь то, что они тут натворили.
You may remember I got criticized for calling Putin a war criminal. Well, the truth of the matter, you saw what happened in Bucha. This warrants him, he is a war criminal. But we have to gather the information. We have to continue to provide Ukraine with the weapons they need to continue the fight. And we have to gather all the detail so this can be have a war crime trial. This guy is brutal. And what's happening in Bucha is outrageous. And everyone's seen it.
So it's presented as fact, pretty much, that Russia is committing war crimes. So what's your reaction to that?
Well, first of all, the dozen or so bodies that we saw on that video, the first thing you'll know is that the vast majority of them are carrying the dry rations that the Russians give out to people for humanitarian reasons. Those green boxes with the white star on it, and it says Voyentorg military store. These are dry rations that the Russians hand out to hungry people. The other thing you'll notice is that many of them had white armbands on, which is the signal that you are with the Russian side, and that if you're, for instance, a civilian trying to make your way to the Russian side, or you have gone over to the Russians, you wear this. The other one is that others had their white armbands taken off and they were bound. Their hands were bound behind their backs. So what we're talking about here is the evidence that presents itself is we're talking about a pro-Russian collection of people who had received assistance from the Russians, people who identified with the Russians, and were most likely seeking to make their way to the Russians. And so it's counterintuitive that the Russians are shooting them down, especially when we have evidence that from the same time period, videotape that shows the Ukrainian National Police, which isn't the Ukrainian National Police, by the way. They've been taken over by the Azov Nazis. So these are disgusting Nazi pigs coming in, and you hear the voice saying, "Hey, they don't have the blue mark on. Can I shoot them?" And the other guy says, beep, yes, the beep being the F word. Yes, shoot them. And they do. And you hear people screaming for mercy. Please don't. Pop, pop. They're dead. Oh, CNN will never play that video, nor will they play the videotape of a senior person in Ukrainian leader, a female, who went on social media telling the citizens of Bucha on or about 1st of April that the national police are going to be carrying out a cleansing operation, and don't interfere with it. And that by cleansing now, we go to the National Police's own statement that talks about we're going in and we're liquidating the collaborators, and they use another term that implies people who were working with the Russians. Then they say we're going to give them a haircut, and that's World War II banderist, Bander being Stepan Bandera, his followers, the Nazis. For we're going to kill them, we're going to clip them. All this data is there. We have physical evidence of dead bodies. Why don't people do autopsies? Autopsies will give you time of death, causation of death, and you can determine whether or not the bodies were moved there or were there originally. The New York Times has come out with this ridiculous video comparison that says that these people died on March 19th. Well, I've seen dead bodies that have been in the field for 2 weeks. They don't look like this. They're swollen, they're green, they stink, they've burst open. Everything's coming out of them, and it wasn't that cold to preserve their bodies. So these bodies have been laying there since March 19th. Not only that, some people have done the forensic research on this. The image was taken April 1st, as the Russians said. The Russians are telling the truth here, 100%. The New York Times either lied about the date or got it wrong. But the people went back to the same satellite company that produced those videos, did the analysis, the forensics on it, and they came out and said the New York Times is showing a 1 April image that was actually claiming it was March 19th. And it's garbage. Everything about this story is garbage. Every piece of data is there. I could right now, with the data available, run a successful war crimes prosecution against every Ukrainian I can link to this crime, because not only do I have the actual crime, a dead body, I can show that it was willful. It wasn't an accident. People die in war. Tragedy, civilians die. And sometimes a lot of civilians die. And that's just a byproduct of war. Every dead civilian does not constitute a crime. In fact, it's the vast majority of dead civilians are just a collateral consequence of combat. If you're going to call what happened here a crime, and I believe it is, did the people who shot them, was it willful or an accident? I mean, I have to tell you, if you got 12 people coming at you and you're a scared Russian soldier, and you think one of them might have a javelin because they've been shooting javelin missiles, killing your buddies, you might fire first. That's not a war crime. That's just what war is. But if you're 12 people trying to run away from a cleansing operation being run by the National Police who are out to give you a haircut, and the National Police gun you down, that's a crime. And then you say, well, was it their intent to do this? We have the videotape of the lady saying, we're doing a cleansing operation. We have the video of the guys actually killing people. Yeah, you convict all of them right now. And yet they're talking about convicting Russians who had nothing to do with this. We know the Russians had nothing to do with this. And yet they're holding Security Council meetings allowing the president of Ukraine, who is a war criminal. Literally, I can convict him right now for what he's done in perpetrating the mythology of Bucha. He knows it's a lie.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you, because I don't know if what you were referring to exactly, but right before I played the clip, you said something about how the propagandists are believing their own propaganda, which is not what you just said now. So do you have any, let's look at the American side, for example. Does somebody like Biden realize what he's saying or no?
Let me put it this way. The CIA is married to the Ukrainian propagandists. They're running the show. They're building these clips. They're driving the narrative. So if the CIA is doing that and the president is consuming it, either the CIA has briefed the president and the president knows that he's propagating a lie, which makes him criminally culpable, by the way. Find a lawyer that tells me I'm wrong. I dare you. They won't. Or more likely, the CIA isn't briefing the president and he's consuming it and running off at the mouth. This is why the Pentagon, as soon as the president spoke, the Pentagon went out and went, we don't have any evidence to corroborate what's going on. We're not denying it, but we have no evidence.
It didn't happen.